Hey, what's up? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to cure the abandonment wound. Chances are, if you click this video, you're looking for an answer to cure an abandonment feeling or a time in your life where you have felt abandoned. And 9 times out of 10, this is comes from an inner child wound, something that happened when you were younger. Now, specifically, I can relate to this because I too had an abandonment wound for an extremely long time and was completely unaware of it. I started to see in my life how in my relationships with other people, I was always seeking external validation. I would go into these groups of people and feel like that I really needed to belong. Like I wanted to feel a part of, and I desperately needed it because I just could not feel okay. And what that meant is in relationships, this touched every aspect of my life. In job, career, I felt like I was always having to prove something because I felt so insecure within my own skin. A lot of the times, what happens is in these scenarios and in life is our reality is just mirrored back to us. So I was attracting career path and job opportunities that I would fail in, and also I would attract relationships into my life that I was so afraid of being left alone or without. And I was so in fear of not being good enough and not like meeting the status of my job that I created that to be my own reality. You see, I looked to partners for completion of myself. I looked to friends for completion of myself. Like if I could only get with the right group of people, then like I would be okay. And so in relationships, romantic relationships specifically, I always was afraid that a partner would leave me and what would happen. So what happens is when I was in a relationship, I would grip on real tight, and that would show up in some real unhealthy ways. I would find myself being controlling. I would try to control my partner and be very insecure when they were away from me because I had this wound. And the crazy thing is like I didn't know that I had it. It took some time of really paying attention to it rather than avoiding it. I started to notice how there was other people in my life, like my parents and previous people around me, and I had to look at the dynamics of each one of those relationships and what that stood for. And I had to talk with a coach, and I had to talk with a therapist and discover like there's something here. And I don't really know where it's coming from. And I had to literally unlock the fact and awareness to the abandonment wound within myself. But the beautiful thing is once I realized it was there, I started to really change my values. I started to change the way that I thought about situations and relationships. And so the first trick that we have to do is, number one, we have to realize that the abandonment is there. Because if you're like me, you would just have these normal reactions, which you feel is like autopilot to situations. And you can chalk it up like I did to, oh, that's just who I am. Oh, I just really love this way. Or that's just how I am in relationships. And the truth of the matter is, I had to find out that there was the abandonment there. But once I did, then now we can get to the next step. And the next step to heal it is to realize that abandonment is okay. It's okay for you to feel like you were abandoned at some point in your life. And the fact that you do that in relationships today, it's actually a beautiful thing, because that inner child and that once hurt person that's inside of you, the way you're behaving in relationships is literally a mechanism to protect you. So we have to love that person, right? Because chances are the abandonment wound within you is a time in your life where you did not feel loved and you didn't feel protected and you didn't feel safe. So we have to offer that love to ourselves and recognize that the abandonment wound that is in us is an okay thing. And we have to love that part of us. Next is we have to start changing the value systems. We have to start changing the value systems within ourselves and stop putting people on pedestals. And what I mean by that is if we start to allow people to take such a strong volume in our life, meaning if I can't get this from you, then I'm not going to be okay. Like if we tie our worth into other human beings, then our worth is never going to be what we need it to be, because we are allowing others to dictate what our worth is. And the truth of the matter is the magic happens when we are able to determine that. So we have to really realize that seeking validation from others, showing up and chasing after others to feel complete, we have to pull the energy, right? We have to pull the energy back to ourselves, because the only one that's in control of this is ourselves. And we have to stop ourselves in the tracks of the behavioral patterns that show up because of the abandonment. Because now that we have the self-awareness, and now that we are aware that the abandonment is there, we can start to look how it's showing up in our personal relationships, whether it be career, whether it be friendships or romantic relationships. These are all ways that it can show up. And I mean, it can show up in parenting. I mean, there's so many ways it can show up, but we have to be aware. And with this awareness now that we know that it's there, we can start to look and identify. And so what happens is the feelings that I used to get is like an anxiousness, like a panic almost, is what I would feel inside of myself when my abandonment wound would cry out. My partner would like go out with friends or go on a vacation or go to dinner at night with some people. And I would just feel this really panicky feeling. And then accompany that with some things that happen in relationships where, partners did cheat or partners did leave or whatever. Is the sad part of that is like my deep level insecurity and wanting to attach and pull close. Because what happens is typically an abandonment wound will create an anxious attachment. And so the anxious attachment is we want to hold on to our partner so tight and never let them go, because if we let them go, we feel like we will never find the love again. So we have to reframe. We have to reframe and rechange our values to realize that no matter what, even if our partner leaves, that we're going to be okay. And that's hard to hear, I'm sure, right now. Maybe you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, Chad, that's insane. Like, I don't know if I'll ever be okay. Well, the truth of the matter is you're going to be okay no matter what. And you have to be the one that tells you that. See, what happens is in these dynamics, say your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your partner or whatever goes out to dinner with friends, and you get that feeling that, right? You're going 100 miles an hour and you're so insecure, is you have to stop yourself in your tracks, and you have to soothe yourself. And maybe that means going for a walk. Maybe that means phoning a friend. Maybe that means getting still and getting quiet within your own thought patterns. And the thing is that feeling, it's going to come. I can guarantee you that it's going to come. But the thing that is going to be beautiful is once we have awareness, once we reframe our values, once we stop putting people on pedestals, then we are able to love ourselves authentically, and then we are able to stop ourselves in the middle of the panic. And we are able to redirect our thoughts to the reality. One of the most beautiful things you can do for yourself in your abandonment is focus on your feet in the now. So you see, if we're focused so much on what our partner is doing and worrying about what might be, it means we're not in the current circumstance. It means we're so far ahead of where we are that we can't even understand what the present is. And a lot of the times in my abandonment, what I found is I was looking backwards, looking at the past hurt, the past partner, the abandonment as a child, as predicting what my current reality was going to be. And the truth of the matter is, my partner, most of the time, was just out to dinner. That's it. Or just with friends. They weren't cheating on me or sneaking behind my back or gonna destroy me or leave me all alone. Like, these are all the things that my mind told myself. So we have to insert into our thought patterns, stop the train in its tracks, and then reaffirm to ourselves that our value is not tied to another human being. And that even if this person was to walk away, that I would create the love that I needed for myself. That I would basically reparent myself the way that I deserve to be loved. And no other person can dictate that. That's the beauty of it. Because you have your worth. The worth of yourself is within you. You do not have to search for another human being to get that. And once we start to begin to love ourselves and reparent ourselves and take this abandonment wound and nurture it, the most beautiful thing happens. We start attracting the people that we want in our lives. The people that were once there in our lives that we thought that we needed or sought validation through, is we don't even really want those relationships anymore, because we become more secure in ourselves, and then the abandonment disappears. And then when it does come up, we're able to identify it and stop it, and then self-soothe ourselves back into our present moment and our reality. Do me a favor, hit that like button down there. I drop content every single day around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, have an amazing, awesome day.